Good morning, everybody. My name is Tori, and I'm the Grubby Pirate, and I want to welcome you to my home here in Santa Ana, which is in the province of Mismas Oriental on the island of Mindanao in the beautiful Philippines. Thanks so much for taking the time to check us out. Let's get at it. So this week's video is a little bit different. We didn't get a lot of construction done, but I did get a lot of yard work done. You'll notice that we have 2.5 acres of beautifully manicured lawn, coconut trees, fruit trees, and dogs, and not to mention cats. I just don't know where they are right now. But we got a lot of yard work done, not that much construction. We got a little bit done, very little. And let me take a look at what we got done. We hung up our San Miguel sign, and no, unfortunately, we're not sponsored, but we are consumers. And then I finished off the countertops, our mahogany countertops here just at the end of the house. They're gonna just hold probably a few of those San Miguel beverages during their time. And all I need to do is really touch up that blue paint there, and we're pretty much finished. This is going to be our billiards area, and these are gonna be a large part of it. So also today, we're gonna talk about something that comes up quite a bit in my comments and people asking me, budgets living here in the Philippines. Yes, another expat budget video, but this one's a little bit different. It's not only a construction budget, but it's a general budget for anybody and everybody that should really think about whether you're in the Philippines or whether you're in Timbuktu. It really doesn't matter. I've got a little formula that has helped me out my entire life since I learned it, and I hope it'll help you out here in the Philippines or wherever you go. But before we get going, you're already here, so I hope you take the time and hit that subscribe button. Last week, we were sitting at 194 subscribers, and this week we jumped up to 312 already. So we gained 100 and some subscribers in 1 week. I want to thank you all for that. I'm trying to hit that 500 mark, and hopefully we can do it at the end of this video. So thanks again. Please just take that time. It's super easy. It's just a little poke on that subscribe button. So I've always thought when I've watched, vlogs on budgets, whether you're in Thailand or the Philippines or wherever you are, I've always thought they were kind of silly. The reason being is that everybody is different. We all have different sources of revenue, income, and we also have different buying habits and basically lifestyles. So every budget is different, and I've always thought they were kind of silly. But I'm gonna hopefully bring you a budget today that will help you out not only in the Philippines, but wherever you are, whether you're at home or in Timbuktu. It's something that's been with me since I was 19 years old. I'm far from Elon Musk or Mr. Super Successful, but you know what? I was taught something at a very young age that I had carried throughout, and I still use today, and I think it'll really help you out. So I get asked all the time, and I'm told, oh, you can live in the Philippines for $500 a month, like a king. Well, you know what? I'm calling BS. There's absolutely no way you can live in the Philippines on $500 a month. Even a Filipino can't do it. 1,000 US maybe, not 1,000 Canadian, not 1,000 Australian, $1,000 US. Well, you might be able to survive, but it won't be very pretty. It won't be very glamorous. Now, what's so great about my budget? Well, it works. It really works. And if you get on it, I guarantee you, life will be a little bit smoother, a little bit easier. And it's something that I learned when I was 19 years old. I don't know if a lot of you know, but I'm a former professional athlete. I was lucky enough to turn my childhood passion into my passionate profession. Unfortunately, it was a sport that really didn't make a lot of money. It was not professional football. It was not professional hockey. It was not professional golf. It was skiing and snowboarding. So the money wasn't great, but the lifestyle was amazing. And on that trip, I developed a sponsorship with a company called Oakley. I'm sure you've heard of Oakley Athletics. I'm wearing a pair on my head right now, and courtesy to Oakley, they still supply me with lots of goodies, and I'm very thankful to them and the relationship I've had with them for, since 1985. So what is that, 25? Yeah, God, it's a long time, and my math is horrible. So anyway, I was sponsored by Oakley, and in my first year with Oakley, they invited me to California to attend a seminar. And this seminar was for rookie athletes and new Oakley sponsors, okay? It was basically to introduce us to Oakley, introduce us to the lifestyle, introduce us to the sporting world now that we're starting to make a little bit of money. And Oakley, an amazing story in itself, was developed in 1975 by a gentleman named Jim Gennard. And Jim, again, started Oakley with $300, and he sold it in 2007 for $2.1 billion. So this man knows what he's doing, knows what he's talking about. And again, this is basically his formula for life, and it will help you. So to start a successful budget here in the Philippines, or anywhere in Southeast Asia actually, is probably having a really good and sound exit strategy. Things can go sideways quickly, whether you're in the Philippines, Thailand, Southeast Asia, it really doesn't matter. So you need to be able to get out, get home, and start all over again. So start at the end. So can you live like a king for $500 a month in the Philippines? No, not a chance. I don't care what anybody says. And if somebody tells you that, they're just blowing hot air up your ass and just trying to convince you. Okay, it cannot happen. It will not happen. $1,000 a month, that's US money? Possibly, but again, not glamorously. $2,000 a month, well, let's start there. $2,000 a month, maybe not necessarily like a king, but you know what, it'll be comfortable. And we're gonna base our budget today on a $2,000 US a month budget. Okay, so let's go for a little walkabout and get this budget going. There's basically 7 separate categories in this budget to survive successfully, whether you're, again, at home or abroad. I really recommend this to you. It's something that I've adhered to and it's worked wonders for me. But again, everybody's different. So first thing always for everybody is housing, okay? My budget has always allowed me 33% of my monthly income for housing, whether that's a mortgage, whether that's an apartment, whether that's a hotel. I've always allowed 33% for a housing budget. If that's today's budget in the Philippines at $2,000 US a month, that's $660 a month just on housing, or 38,000 pesos. May sound like a lot to some, but you know what? It's not. 38,000 pesos in the Philippines doesn't go very far. It does if you're in the province, but in the city like Manila, BGC, Angeles, Cebu, even Davao, 38K a month goes really quickly, but it can be done and it can be done comfortably. Now, the next thing is we all need to eat, so we have to have a food budget. A food budget should be 20% of your monthly income, regardless of where you are. If that's the budget here at $2,000 US a month, well, that's $600 American a month, or 23,000 pesos. That's not a lot. That's not eating glamorously. That's not going to restaurants every day. That's basically shopping and cooking on your own. So if you're a cook, you can get by on that, no problem. Me, I can't cook with my life dependent on it. Thank God for Apple Jane. Okay, the next thing you need are wheels. You need to be able to get around wherever you are. Now, you don't necessarily need to go jump out and buy a motorbike or a car or something like that. It really depends, again, on your lifestyle and where you're based at. Okay, I'm remote, I need wheels. But if you're sitting in a city, you're content with walking around, everything is within distance, I recommend that. But a budget for transportation should, again, be 20% as well. 20% of your monthly income, which again is $400 US at $2,000 a month, or 23K a month. That's 276K a year. That easily buys this bike. This bike, my Honda CRF, it cost me 150,000 pesos. So that's a lot of fuel in between. So if you need wheels, grab them. If you don't worry about it. You can get by on trikes or what we call Grab, which is your Uber, okay? Or you can walk the good old-fashioned way. Nothing wrong with that. Okay, so most of the major things are taken care of. Now let's get down to the things that really nickel and dime you to death. And let's start with utilities. Okay, you're going to need a cell phone communication, you're going to need electricity, you're going to need water, and you know what? They all add up and they all cost money. But a monthly budget on those types of things, all utilities, should be basically 5% of your monthly income, which in the Philippines is $100 US a month, or 6K. You should be able to survive on that. But again, now it's time to get nickel and dime to death. Medical's a little tricky. You know, you may need to go above or beyond this, or sacrifice one budget for another, and that might need to be done here when we're talking about medical, whether that's health, prescriptions, dental, anything. Personally, I roll the dice. I don't have a health coverage. I did at the beginning when I first came to the Philippines, but you know what? I'm rolling the dice and gambling it. I want to use that money elsewhere. But I recommend 3% for medical. That's what was recommended to me. And I generally spend about that. That's $60 US a month on health, prescriptions, and dental. I really don't use any of those. I have gone to the dentist, but they're so inexpensive here, it's not funny. So $60 US a month for that, which is about 3,500 pesos. So I didn't want you to see my gambling face when I mentioned I rolled the dice. Okay, I don't want to give off any tips. But the next thing we should talk about are your personal expenses. What you're going to do in your everyday life, you know, whether that's fun and frolic, whether that's toiletry, whether that's, you know, guys or gals, beers, etc., etc., etc. Well, you should allow yourself about 10% to have some fun and to take care of things, okay? That should pretty much cover you here in the Philippines. You know, that's $200 US a month or 12,000 pesos per month. And again, on a $2,000 a month budget, it's not a lot. $2,000 sounds like a lot because we still associate it with days gone by, but it's not, unfortunately. It's global. There's been pandemics, there's been inflation, there's been everything. Money just doesn't go as far as it used to, even here in the Philippines. Living like a king, it's not like it used to be. Now, last but definitely by no means least, let's have a little bit of money for travel, a little bit of pocket change, a little bit of scratch, just to get away. Now, no matter where you are in the Philippines, I'm sure it's gonna be beautiful, but you deserve to get away. There's 7,000 islands to explore. Every single one of them is different, and they're all a lot of fun. So I'd allow $180 US or 10K PHP. That's 9% of your monthly budget. Again, based on $2,000 a month. You notice, 10K a month, you know, that's not gonna get you very far. It's not gonna get you the nicest of hotel rooms, but you can still get out and about. Well, that's it, everybody. That's my budget. I hope it helps you. Budgets, again, I think are kind of stupid, but this one's definitely helped me out through my entire life. I highly recommend it. It's something I've been following since I was 19 years old, this exact formula, and I follow it strictly. So it will help you, I guarantee you that. But that's it for today, another Philippine budget. Hope you've enjoyed it. You've made it this far. Again, I hope you throw us a bone, hit that subscribe button, help us crack 500. We're getting there really quickly. I wanna see how quickly it takes to get to 1,000 actually. And so far, we've been at 8 videos, and we're sitting at 319 subscribers. I just looked and updated, 319. Thanks everybody. Keep on keeping on, and it's more fun in the Philippines. On any budget.